Hi everyone and welcome to this week's episode of Fight Chat Friday from TKD Coach Academy. This week we go back again to the European Championships in Porec, Croatia, and we're going to look at the minus 85 kilo senior male and follow Amin's path to the final. So stay with us for a great episode.
Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's episode. So this is a nice division with a couple of new guys thrown in the mix and some people who've been there in finals before as well. So looking forward to getting stuck into this one. So Amin had 4 fights to his path to taking the title. So he got through 4-0 in his first 2, I think, and then there was towards the end there was a nice juicy final 2-1
Absolutely.
win.
Yeah, really
nice
good final.
battle.
Exciting. Started off though with our good friend Laird from Ireland, and we weren't sure about this one either, like how this was going to go, because Laird very, very capable, quite fast in his own right, and not exactly the traditional image of an 85 fighter.
Yeah, like he's after improving crazy amount as well. He got to the final of the last year's championship. I think in this one for me, I think Amin just came out the blocks really sharp off the front leg as well, and it's just hard to get that read of his timing. He's quite unique that way. And Amin's able, like, the shots he's able to throw here, because he doesn't look as if he's able to throw these shots when he's leaning so much on some side kicks, but then he brings them out of nowhere and pulls them off and able to score really well. I love the almost a step foot to foot side kick to the hip, because people can't
really
read
long.
it, but it's such a great shot and it's so clear as well.
Yeah, and Amin is a guy who can do an awful lot of the simple things again and again and again until he builds his score, and then he kind of goes to the extra special bin and pulls out 1 or 2 things that look really nice. But as you said, every now and again he pops off a headshot or something that's a bit unexpected, because it looks like he's labouring with the legs, and I think it's the fact that his body language conveys that he's labouring with the legs that makes it almost so effective. He's still fast. He just has a very kind of lounged, laid back kind of way of throwing it as well.
Yeah, I like the way he comes in with the blitz. Usually, like we've been talking about recently now, of people driving through, like here with Laird actually driving through in the blitz, but Amin actually comes in, scores his 2 shots, and then pulls out to find the kick to the body as quick as possible. So it's a nice little way to get those extra points and build up on the continuation scores. Nice little flowing combo here.
Yeah, that's it. He doesn't really ever get called for the contact. Like, it's so rare that he gets called for contact, because he just makes that quick contact and he's looking for the exit and the higher value score.
Yeah, Laird is trying to push towards the hands, and that would be a big strength of his, and obviously Amin is quite sharp, and I think that side kick, that the range he was finding at the start there that we just seen, is the distance was just a bit too far, and he's able to understand when he's in threat of any real kind of attack or lunge, let's say, and he's able to pull off some nice defensive side kicks, back kicks, and even jump away back fists.
Yeah, his defensive shots, and very much in the point fighting style, really are unexpected for a guy of his size. You don't expect the 85s to be taking quite delicate and precise retreating side kicks, or the little retreat back fist, quite tidy on the back kicks, or even the 2-touch kick on the retreat as well. He tends to bring in there quite often. So he does have that kind of unexpected. Well, it's unexpected the first time we've seen plenty of Amin, so we know he's got this in his wheelhouse, and so does Laird, in fairness, in that one. But I think what Laird struggles with, having never sparred Amin before, I don't think, unlike the other Newlands lads, is that range, like that setting of range in the beginning off of that front leg, where Laird starts to figure, he's starts thinking, how do I deal with this front leg? And as he comes to terms that, I'm going to deal with this front leg, Amin switches to the blitz, and then the scores start to slip away, and Laird has to really work to stay in that fight.
That is the beauty as well of people who are kind of using this hybrid of point fighting from WAKO and ITF. By able to link the two, your entries are real solid, because you understand where you need to be, the timing and the distance, even at a little bit of a higher degree, I think.
Yeah, for sure. So into round 2, we went up against Norway and Morten Lind.
Yeah, so this one starts off again, same thing. Amin always tries to start with the busy front leg, I think, trying to set out a stall, basically on the front leg, and as you said, probably trying to look to build some scores on the board before he gets into his real flow.
I think as well, it allows him some time to get the range of the opponent and to kind of test what way is he going to react. But a big feature for Amin is just exactly how busy he is with his footwork. He's not lazy at all about setting up the shots. He's willing to work to set up each and every shot and to make sure he has the right range.
Yeah, and like what I've noticed as well is like when we were clipping these files, usually when we clip files down from a 4-minute fight, we might get a minute of action.
Yeah.
But I was getting like 2 minutes of action in most fights, so like he's very, very active there, and there's not much like playing around and dancing. He's always active, and even when he is moving, he's trying to set things up as well with his footwork and his testing and things like that.
He's very, very, very controlling then as well when he does get to the spaces, towards the edge of the ring. Right at the moment on screen, he's in retreat and showing a little bit of, the hands-only boxing skills. But when he has his opponent pushed towards that edge or that corner of the ring, we start to see him being very, very, very hungry to finish it out, to get that score, to squeeze his opponent out and get that warning. And I think that builds up quite well over the course of 2 rounds.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And like it's that mix again of, is the hands the big threat, or is it the front leg side kick that's going to be the threat? And you never know. And I think that's his big strength, is that he's so strong off both that you can't really rely on one or the other. You have to kind of give heed, I guess, to both of them, and then all of a sudden the other one hits you.
He does a very good job of keeping the match playful as well. And we'll see quite a difference in style here as we go into the semi-final with Gilles, who you wouldn't regard as a playful fighter.
No, he literally sets out his style and gets the grind going and works hard. And these guys have fought each other numerous times, so they obviously have a strategy and a game plan coming into this fight. But yeah, going back to the playful thing, I think that just helps his style so much more, because it's the speed, it's the timing, it's the distance, and it just plays into his strengths. He's not trying to be anybody he's not. He's working on what he does best.
Absolutely, and I think the game plan here, had to be from Amin. He had to work so much harder than you'll see in the previous ones in terms of getting the distance and the right moment to break down that side kick, because I think so much of this one depends on who gets ahead. And if Amin can get that lead early on and not make a mistake and get caught clean on the hip with the side kick, as Gilles is so wont to do to people, then all of a sudden the scores can build, and then it's a case of, can Gilles do the same work going forwards on the side kick, and it opens the opportunities for those little defensive shots and the distance counter blitz from Amin.
Yeah, I think like talking of styles, I think Amin is stronger as the guy who's kind of like pulling off the counter shots, where Gilles' biggest strength really is when it's a tough barn burner of a fight and he's pulling off these side kicks and strong with the hands and things. But when Amin gets the lead, it's going to be hard to pull it back off him. And especially it's the fact that he was a bit more on the edges this time at the start of the fight, Gilles.
Yeah.
Where usually he kind of controls the centre and dominates the match. Where I think that playfulness of Amin that you mentioned was a big factor.
I think there's, it's also a token of respect. Like Amin has lost this matchup a couple of times as well, I think. Yeah. And there's a respect there that Amin knows he has to work hard. And in the full 2 minutes of the first round, there's very few I'll just go attempts, and there's an awful lot more of that testing, establishing, making sure that Gilles' leg isn't in the happy place, where he's comfortable. He's twitchy, he's a little bit uncomfortable before Amin is testing shots. And there's a few times where he goes forward, but he has to kind of cover up as he gets it kind of wrong. So I think it took quite a while to get that lead, but once the lead was there and Gilles had to attack a bit more, Amin was able to use that Gilles' range then against him a little bit, in that, well, Gilles was going to have to commit something and Amin could react, and he was happier with that, I think.
Plays into his hands big time. It's on that one as well. Do you think that Amin kind of was coming with more of a strategy of, let's try bypass that front leg of Gilles, or do you think he was looking to use his own front leg more? Because it was in the first couple of fights it was a bit 50-50, but I think this one he tried to get the lead a bit more with the hands, but the big threat then of course is Gilles' front leg, so it's an interesting strategy.
Yeah, I think he was far more testy with the footwork, an awful lot more preemptive movement and setup, but definitely I think he was almost conceding the front leg battle to Gilles and just deciding not to engage on that basis, and try and make it about the hands. But again, we saw whenever he did get to hands, he was looking for that turning kick to the hip. He was looking for that like exit score to try and build it up. So not just satisfied with all of that hard work for one clean score off the hand, he was trying to add the bonus 2 points each time as well. And once he got that lead and Gilles had to come at him a bit, I think he had the option then to make those angles, to make that distance and counter blitz. Yeah. But as you said, it set up a hell of a final and a really, really good match with Timothy Zavic from Slovenia. And, you know,
we got a bit of slack, Adrian, when we did our predictions for not putting Timotej into the final. But how wrong were we? He was outstanding in this division.
And we did say to people, go prove us wrong, and he certainly did that, you know.
Yeah, he did for sure. A great match. I think these guys know each other quite well, and there's a bit of respect there as well. But you see from the start, plenty of action, and I think the trick here is that Timotej wasn't looking for the single shots, and I think he probably knows Amin is very sharp off that entry, and he's just kind of looking to bring a bit more continuation and flow to draw him out into the second and third shot.
Yeah, and I think, you know, even a little bit of a willingness to, you know, accept trading as long as he can go in there and get some continuation, because it certainly felt like he had the better chance of getting high value scores by getting to the breakdown and not having it where it's single shots where maybe Amin would have a slight advantage.
Yeah, this is like front leg battle here is an interesting one. It's very similar to what we've seen with Yazin and Doyle in the 57s as well, as where they're both playing that front leg, hoping one will overcommit, and it kind of sets up maybe a defensive side kick or even the hands like we see right here.
Absolutely. But even the counterplay on distance, you know, we saw Timothy there with just the retreat front leg dolio, retreat front leg side kick, and we're seeing the same thing with kind of retreating and the back fist off of Amin and so on. Really respectful of the other's distance, and then looking for these opportunities to, you know, to get ahead on the breakdown.
Yeah, interesting little style as well of how they're looking to use the front leg to clash and go. I think that both of them fancy their chances of getting their scores off the hands after the lead leg side kick. So interesting that they both kind of went with that strategy as well. It was just whoever got the cleaner shots, and I guess then goes back to what we said earlier, who can get the Dolio Chagi like we see here after just that bit cleaner.
And honestly, you know, having watched it at the time and certainly rewatching the highlights of it now, that's definitely the feel that there's you know, a very, very, very equal match with a couple of exchanges. And again, it's almost like the basketball one where, you know, it goes 2 for 2 until somebody gets a 3-pointer or somebody gets, you know, a foul in the basket, and all of a sudden that one little extra on an exchange or the one turnover where someone gets a little momentum, and that's the game. It's a 5-point game at the end. And, you know, I think that's what we're seeing here is kind of a good free scoring match with quite a few different techniques tried, different options investigated, with just a couple of exchanges working out in favour of Amin to take the, as you said, I think it was 2-1-1, was it, in the end? So that was very, very close, and hats off to both competitors for giving us a highly engaging and entertaining final.
Yeah, one of the best ones I've seen from the Euros. But a couple of great points there from Amin of what he does well. He finds that turning kick after hands. He pulls out nice and early after the hands as well, not getting pulled up by the referee. He's able to use that clash and go that we've seen from fighters like Thomas Fogarty in recent episodes and things like that as well. And then that front leg is always there. He's always sharp with it, always setting rhythms and footwork, and his timing is really good. So it's all about putting the basics in place and then building his own natural style from that. So yeah, great showing from Amin, and congrats to him on getting the win. Absolutely.
So this week we're on our members video. We're going to kind of go back to Amin maybe in particular, but we have an idea, I suppose, and the idea is to kind of go back to looking at fights like this from the point of view of how it influences your own style as a competitor, or how it influences your thinking as a coach for what we might look to next, or how we might look to change things. Because I suppose sparring is always evolving. What's successful changes very, very slightly all of the time. So you're constantly having to kind of reassess how you train, how you coach, to arrive at something that's going to be successful, not just imitating what was just done, but kind of iterating on that to see, well, what's going to be successful next. So we're going to dig into that a little bit, and we might even just have a look at that particular final as a good way to investigate what's important to look at, what's just show, what are the real things that you can implement, and how you start building your building blocks from there towards establishing your own training and sparring style.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when once we had Thomas Barada here for the ITA summer camp, he said something and it always stuck to me. He said, if you try to imitate somebody who has the best sidekick, you'll only ever have the second best sidekick, because it's theirs and it's what they do. It's natural to them.
Yeah.
And it's something that stuck with me for a long time. So it's very important that you find your own little niche and your way to kind of pick the good bits from people, but to add it into your own little recipe and create your own dish.
For sure. Okay, so if you're not going to be joining us in the member section, well, you might want to reconsider that. It's definitely worth it. But other than that, folks, thanks again for watching, and we will see you next Friday.
See you in the next one.